Active Investor here, bringing you another independent analysis. This time we are taking a look at ticker symbol SGY, that's Stone Energy Core. The chart we're looking at today is a 15-minute chart. Each candlestick on this chart representing 15 minutes of trading. We go back to December 15th, and we have about 2 weeks of data here, about a week and a half, 2 weeks of trading almost. And what I want to discuss in this video is whether the trend is up or down. And you know, to me the trend is down based off a few very obvious indicators. You see we have our high here of 1249 right off the bat. And then we have our highs here, lower highs at a very tough resistance area. Then we have some lower highs here and lower highs here. So to me the trend's down. But if we look at this on the daily chart, let me flip over to the daily chart on my other screen for a second. You would see that the trend for SGY on the daily chart, though the overall greater trend is indeed down, it's been making higher lows on the daily chart for right about the beginning of December. Now it did have some red, but it did end up bouncing pretty hard from that red, and it's come back pretty strong. So overall, the trend to me is the great trend is down. The overall trend throughout the years is down. But on the one-day chart, the trend is actually choppy, but it is up. So on a more intraday level, let's take a look at the 15-minute chart here. We can see the trend is indeed down though, based off these lower highs here. And also, if we take a look at the RSI, I'm sure it'll confirm it there. So let's take a look at the RSI. I haven't even taken a look at that yet. This is going to be the first time I look at the RSI with you guys here. So let's take a look at where our overbought points are actually. Let's go to our overbought points. It's overbought on that candle. And of course, I'm putting it to the close on the candles. And this will paint the perfect picture for us to really get an idea of what this trend's doing. Alright, so you can see pretty choppy action. Higher point, lower point, higher point, lower point, and then lower point. So this is a pretty important area right here. Let's highlight this. Now, higher point. So you'll notice that we actually had two lower points right where that yellow is, right here. We had a overbought point here, and then we had an overbought point here, and then overbought point here. Now that tells us that the trend is down pretty hard. Now it was kind of just pacing along. You know, we had a overbought point, a higher overbought point, then a lower overbought point. So the trend was just kind of choppy. But then over here, the trend was absolutely down with two lower overbought points, along with the fact that we have our lower highs. So this is the first higher high in terms of the RSI right here. So what we need to see for this trend to continue up is an overbought point pushing towards resistance, the $12 resistance area. If we go overbought, if we push towards $12, we'll have a higher overbought, and it'll look more likely for us to break that $12 resistance. Now, if we get to the $12 resistance and we're not overbought, it might just be a temporary pop, in which case it's more likely to get denied at the $12 area. We don't want a temporary pop with weak strength. We want a strong move up to 12, and we want to break 12 and turn to support. You can see we've tested the $12 mark here, here, and here. So you could say that's a triple top. Two tests that day, one test here. But if you look at it on the daily chart, really we have a one test that day, another test here. So the next test could actually be considered a triple top. If that is a triple top, obviously we know that's a bearish formation and we'll get denied. So really we need to see if it breaks through or if it forms the triple top. But right now the trend's down. If we didn't have this intraday pop today, the overall trend on SGY would look very ugly. We'd probably be below support. We'd probably be trading somewhere around here towards the $7 area. But that wasn't the case. We had that midday pop. Let me see if there was any news for that. Let's see why it popped. SGY, new bankruptcy plan is to give new shareholders only 5% of the company. Let's see when that pop occurred though. If there's any PR that was released then. So I'm looking for any news around like 850 or 8. Right around 8 to 850. There really wasn't any news that came out then. So let's see. Yeah, not really much. It's a little bit of a update on the restructuring. It looks like that was basically a little bit of why we had that pop. It seems like the restructuring for SGY was a little bit bullish, so we had that little pop there. It looks like they're trying to avoid bankruptcy. So that would explain that. But overall, yeah, I would watch out. What I would do is I wouldn't really look for a day trade on SGY unless we get very bullish around $12. SGY has a history of having some really wild candles. Some of these things are extremely long, like this one, for example, stretching from $9 all the way to about $10. So within that single candle, you got almost a 10% disparity from low to high. So SGY is not the easiest stock to day trade. It can make you some good money. It's volatile enough, but overall, if you're playing with tight stops, it's not the kind of stock that really plays well at tight stops. For example, this candle here, 7.5, the high being almost $9. That's a huge candle. It just has very wild candles, wide spreads. It's a stock you got to be careful with. So overall, I would look for a very safe position on SGY if I were to day trade it. I wouldn't just go in with like any kind of position. So that's what I'll be looking for on SGY. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, please like, please subscribe, and please stay tuned for more content like this. Catch you in the next analysis. Have a good one.